What is the school-to-prison pipeline? Animated characters and scenes appear as a narrator describes.
For many students, going to school opens doors to a bright future. But for some students with disabilities, it's a harmful system that cuts them off from success. It's called the school-to-prison pipeline, which is when schools systematically punish some students more than others and funnel them towards the criminal justice system. Students with disabilities like autism or mental health disorders are in more danger of ending up in the school-to-prison pipeline than their peers. While students with disabilities make up less than 12% of the student population, they represent 75% of students restrained and 58% of students sent to in-school suspension. Some students face both disability and racial discrimination. While only 6% of all public school students have experienced an out-of-school suspension, nearly 25% of students of color with disabilities have. These punishments push students through the pipeline that leads to prison. That's why students with disabilities and their families need to know what their rights are and advocate for what they need. Where does this pipeline start? It starts when educators treat some students differently. Harmful stereotypes, discrimination, and racism are a few reasons marginalized students are at a higher risk of getting caught in the school-to-prison pipeline. For example, a student yelling or crying during class may be considered misbehaving. In reality, the student might be showing signs of a disability, but teachers may punish them for acting out anyway. Children start to be pushed out of the classroom as young as preschool age, and often they become trapped in that system forever. It starts with students removed from the classroom because they are considered a troublemaker, making them miss out on learning and bonding with their classmates. This can make students withdraw from class or get frustrated and act out. Then they face punishments that are more and more severe each time, ranging from physical restraint to in-school suspension, informal removals, and even police involvement. This should not happen. Police on campuses, called school resource officers or SROs, are more common than you might think. An estimated 14 million students are in schools with police across the country, and many states are now making it a requirement to have police of some sort on campus. SROs aren't required to have any training on disabilities and often will cause situations to escalate by not understanding or responding appropriately to the student's disability-related needs. When police intervention is used, a student is more likely to face expulsion, or if a student ends up going to juvenile detention and returns to school, they may find themselves so far behind they quit. So instead of learning, students are pushed out of the classroom and fall behind in classes. Many drop out and get into legal trouble. 73% of students with emotional disabilities who drop out are arrested within 5 years. And students who enter the system have a higher chance of reoffending and ending up in prison. That's where the school-to-prison pipeline ends, unless we can divert students to a different path. If a student qualifies for services under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA, they may get an IEP or Individualized Education Plan. An IEP is a federally mandated document that maps out a plan for the instruction and services a student with disability needs. For example, counseling services, teaching aids, strategies for de-escalation, and responding to disability-related behaviors in a way that promotes learning. Many schools across the country have also adopted restorative therapy, positive behavioral supports, and other intervention systems that help students with disabilities be successful. Parents and students can also advocate for changes in school policies at school board meetings and put pressure on administration to adopt changes that support students with disabilities. Students with disabilities have a right to free, appropriate public education, just like their peers. If a student's school is not offering services for them to be able to learn, they and their parents can file a complaint at the state and federal level. Students with disabilities should feel safe at school and be able to trust their educators. Advocating for and supporting students with disabilities in the classroom is key to ending the school-to-prison pipeline. Schools should be a place for anyone to open the doors to a bright future.
For more information, contact North Dakota Protection and Advocacy Project at 1-800-472-2670 or ndp&a.org.